After being found guilty of violating the civil rights of an inmate by kicking him repeatedly in the head, causing his death, a former guard at New York City's troubled Rikers Island jail complex was sentenced on Wednesday to 30 years in prison. 48-year-old Brian Call was sentenced by U.S. District Judge Loretta Preska in Manhattan. He had been convicted in December by a federal jury of causing the death of 52-year-old inmate Ronald Spear. Before being sentenced, Call said, "I am truly sorry Mr. Spear died because I lost control of myself. I never had any intent to badly hurt or kill Mr. Spear."
YouTube, what's going on? Trey back again, hit you with a video. This video right here come out of New York City, New York. Rikers Island to be exact. And the first time I really heard about Rikers Island was with Tupac, was with the song, I forgot the old song, but anyway, he said basically trying to stay away from Rikers Island, ain't nothing like the old school. I think that's the name of the song. But anyway, that's the first time I ever heard of it. I'm like, what the hell is he talking about trying to stay away from Rikers Island? I'm like, what the hell is that? You know, but I didn't know what it was back then. But as the years passed by, I finally realized what it was, which is a big ass prison where a lot of corrupt, evil things go down. Now, true, we have people in these institutions, these jails, detention centers, and prison that deserve to be there. But at the same time, we have a lot of innocent people and also people who don't deserve to be there. You have mentally ill people who don't deserve to be there. You have people with health conditions that don't deserve to be there. And one thing people do not deserve is the fact that they're being punished. The punishment for committing a crime is doing a time, not guards beating you to death, not the warden putting you in a hole just because he's mad at his wife because he called him screwing. I mean, he called her screwing one of the inmates. So he put a guy in a hole for 5 years. No, the punishment for a person committing crimes is somewhere doing the time, not all this extra stuff that tags along with it. But in this story, you have a ex-Rikers Island guard who gets 30 years in prison for beating a guy to death, basically kicking a man to death. How the hell do you kick a grown man to death, a full grown man? He had to been kicking that guy very hard for a long damn time. And we done seen in a lot of these videos where these correctional officers, these so-called quote unquote wannabe deputies, act way out of line. Like, how in the hell do y'all take men and women faces and run them, slap them to the brick wall? How do you not feed people like you're supposed to? How do people wind up dead and hung in these damn places where if it's a suicide cell, you got a camera in there? How can a person commit suicide, hell, if they have like one of them little gowns on and with a little sheet? But sometimes they don't even have a sheet and they still wind up dead. So it's a lot of corrupt things goes on in these places. And if you have people in these institutions, these type of places, you need to stick with your family and make sure they're okay. You know, write them a letter every now and then. You ain't gotta write a letter every day. You can write it however you want to. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm trying to just give you some advice on what to do. Stay in touch with your people, man. I'm serious, especially if you love them. Even if you don't love them, send them a card every now and then. Let them know somebody love them. And to some people, that means the world to them, because a lot of those people are just like the homeless people. They are the forgotten. What they always say, out of sight, out of mind. You know, just like this book that came out years ago. I can't think of the author name, but some of you all making tell me in the comment section where he said, even though I may be in this hole, I am not forgotten. And I forgot his name, but it was so powerful what he wrote. Because even though they put him away for all these years, he still didn't lose himself. He still didn't lose his sanity, and he remembered who he was. And you have people out here, so-called quote unquote free, that lose their mind and their sanity. They never did a day in prison, a day in jail, you know, because everybody's not built the same. But anyway, let me read a snippet from the story and I'll give my opinion. It says a Manhattan federal judge on Wednesday imposed a 30-year prison sentence on Brian Cole, the former Rikers Island guard convicted last year of violating the civil rights of a restrained inmate by kicking him in the head and causing his death. He kicked him in the head more than one damn time. Shit, that's common sense right there. Cole, 48, of Smithtown, was also convicted of trying to cover up the details of the 2012 incident that led to the death of Ronald Spear, 52, a diabetic inmate with heart and renal disorders who had an altercation with Cole over getting into Rikers infirmary to see a doctor. That's sad right there. The man was 52 years old. The guard was 48, so they're right around the same age. But you're dealing with a guy who's very sickly. But for this guy to die back in 2012, and here it is almost going on the end of 2017, 5-year span. Why in the hell did it take so long to bring this man to justice? Why in the hell did it take so long to convict this man when you have cameras? I know you have cameras. So, but this is what we see a lot of times with law enforcement, that it takes years and years, and some of them never even get convicted. Now, would the same would have been applied if he was a real cop? That remains to be seen. It also says, any reasonable person knows that savagely and repeatedly kicking a person in the head creates a high risk of death or serious bodily injury. U.S. District Judge Loretta Preska said, there was nothing accidental or negligent about this. That's the truth, and thank her for telling the truth right there. Thank her for telling the truth, because that's what we need to hear, and that's what a lot of these law enforcement on the streets needs to hear also, is that you know what you're doing. You know you're going above and beyond your damn duty and what you're supposed to do. But people would do stuff to you as long as you allow it, as long as you be silent, don't say nothing. You know, like the old saying is, I mean, a closed mouth don't get fed, which means you have to speak for what you want, and you have to speak to get things done. Let's continue. It said Preska imposed the sentence after prosecutors had called for a sentence of close to 30 years, citing Cole's lack of remorse and the need to send a message about violence at Rikers, because there's been a lot of stories coming out about them guards beating the hell out of them guys. A lot of guys coming up dead. Some of you all might have loved ones that you probably done got a call or done went up there to see them, and they said, well, this person committed suicide or they did this and that. No, you need to investigate that. They said Cole got a teardrop tattoo after Spears' death to memorialize the incident, and kept a framed picture of Spears in a news article on his death on his wall. So he went and did a whole Lil Wayne thing, even though I don't think Lil Wayne ever killed nobody. And if he did, shame on him, because you don't get no props for killing nobody. I don't believe in that stupid ass ghetto shit neither. But at the same time, this man went and got a damn teardrop under his eye, like he's some kind of gangster, like he's mourning this guy. If you were mourning him that bad, why in the hell did you stomp him to death? I don't understand it. How can you go from stomping a guy to death to mourning him and getting a teardrop tattoo? I guess you're a gangster now. All right. Anyway, Cole's defense lawyers asked for a 4 to 6 year prison term. 4 to 6 years? Man, I get people that much for hell getting caught with a blunt. Citing his clean record doing 12 years working at Rikers. They argued that he suffered mental deficits that caused him to erupt when faced with an unexpected fight. Some government witnesses said Spear actually started it and that it was out of character. Okay, true enough. If the man, okay, let's just play their little game, hypothetically speaking. If the inmate did start it with the guard, what is your protocol? Like what are you supposed to do? Just like the cop asked Vivica Fox on what's the movie Set It Off. What are you supposed to do when you have a gun to your head? But anyway, the guy was supposed to basically handle that. That's why you go through training. You're the one getting paid. This is your job. You can't compare the same actions of an inmate who's in there doing time for something or whatever into a guy that goes there going to work and get a paycheck. It's two totally different things. So the level of responsibility lies more on who? The correction officer than the inmate. The inmate is locked up. You the one supposed to be the professional. That's why your ass up in here wearing the badge. You know, that's why you had authority to lock people down, write them up, make them miss visitations and all that. But all of a sudden you want to be compared on the same level, even playing field, as the guy that's locked up. It don't work that way. No, it don't. Now, and then also they talking about government witness. They always got a witness like that. They probably done paid some guy, you want to be a trustee? You want to be able to go off the compound and all this? Okay, we need you to make up these lies right here. We need you to do this. Probably one of the in-house snitches or rats. But anyway, they going to say the man actually started it, trying to put it on him. And if he did actually start it, guess what? He's a 52-year-old diabetic man. I can see if it was just a little altercation, but you going to kick the man to death? You going to stomp him to death? And then you going to try to make it like he started it? Oh, Lord. Spears was awaiting trial. He didn't even go to trial yet, so he probably was going to get out. Who knows? Spears was awaiting trial on a burglary charge at the time of his death. He was restrained on the floor by other officers, and when Cole kicked him multiple times, and I bet you multiple times mean about 20 or 30 times. Prescott noted that after the kicking, Cole lifted Spears' head and said, "Remember, I did this," before letting it drop back on the floor. His ass needed to get the damn death penalty right there, because how you gonna look at the man in his face, the man already dying, you know, and tell that man, just remember I did this. You know, if I'm just picturing myself on that damn floor, if you already done stumped the mud shit out of me, if you done already done stumped the cowboy dookie out of me, Why would you lift my head up to look at you? You think the last thing I want to look at before I leave this world is your ugly ass, your face? You can't let me die in peace. You can't just let me sit there. You know, already beat the shit out of me. Now you're going to add insult to injuries. You know, that's very sad right there. I mean, let me know what you all think about this story, man, because I hate when these people in these positions abuse their power, but then they expect the civilians just to take any damn thing. You know, I'm not telling nobody to start a riot or uproar, but we have to call these jerks out, man, because these are the same people that play judge and executioner, if you will, because he was the judge and the executioner in this case, and he deserved every goddamn day he get, and I hope he serve every damn day he get, because it do not make no sense for you to beat a guy like that. Like, who do they think they are? You know, because you're going to have to answer for all this. You might not have to answer in this lifetime, but I guarantee you one damn thing, you will answer in the next lifetime, because you can't do people wrong and think that shit ain't going to come back. You cannot do people wrong and think something ain't going to happen to you, because the same way you did him, somebody might do him the same way also. Because remember one thing, karma is a bitch, and she don't care what color or race or sex you are, she will get you. So humble yourself and treat people right. That's the story right there. And if you don't take nothing else from that, take that also, and make sure you check on your people that's incarcerated and locked up. But anyway, if you like, subscribe, make sure you hit that like button, trying to get these likes up, trying to get all that up, you know, because hey, we trying to keep it moving. But anyway, till next time, y'all stay blessed. Check on your loved ones and stop dodging their collect calls. Y'all can accept a collect call sometime. I know them calls be high as hell. Talk to your people, or they might have something important to tell you, and it might be your last time talking to them. Whether you die or they die, you know, have some love for your people. Anyway, I'm out.